eons ago. This is my body, and I will do with it whatever I please, because it is mine, not yours. In fact, the tiny child I carry in my womb is also mine, not yours. She is not even her own. She is mine. She is my body. That's a lie. She is her own body. And the responsibility and the duty for all of us is to bring each other to the fullness of life and give us the chance to come to the fullness of life. And so there's many, many things that we can talk about and can challenge our truth. I mean, the first and most obvious one is elections come up, and what's going on in our world right now is the stock market. It's just crashed, you know. Many people have lost a lot of money. Guess what? It's crashed. And the mountains are going to crash. And the U.S. bank tower is going to crash. It's all going to crash. Our money's going to crash. And it's not going to do any good for us someday. So we can wake up to the truth of the economy. And that's when she said that's one of the big concerns. It's always. And it's real. We have to care about that. And we have to be temperate and live, plan. But to put our hopes in that would be a miserable fate, the economy. So that's one issue in truth. We're the truth for us. Are we really putting it in, giving it all to God? Giving our lives all to God. Another obvious one is life and life issues. Our Archbishop has recently stood up to our governor who supports the taking of life in the womb. That's not simply, that's a critical issue, and there's other life issues, as we know, that we must stand up for. I'm convicted. How much do I stand up for that? I'll stand up for other things, but I stand up for truth. Well, I go down to Planned Parenthood this next Wednesday and stand there, not in condemnation of people, but in hopes of bringing the saving truth of Jesus Christ to whoever might be there to say, we got to stand for this. Because if we don't stand for a baby in the womb, we aren't going to stand for anybody, anytime, if we take that away. So all these life issues that we have to care for. We teach as a church that when a child is conceived in the womb, God gives that child a soul. And Jesus and God is the proximate cause of that soul. That's when life begins, when the baby is conceived in the womb. And we teach and we believe and we hold as a church, from that moment on until the natural death, we have utter respect for the sacredness and dignity of that life. That's why in the church we teach against contraception, because contra is against the beginning of life. And we always have to be open to life in that marital act, open to that life and open to growing as spouses. And if we don't do that, we frustrate God's plans for us. We throw God out, and then the dignity of the human person, the usury, comes in, and we start using each other because we're not open to God's purpose for that. And that's what we teach, so that importance of life and being open to life. There's other issues of life, as we know. Poverty, people starve to death, 40,000 people a day starving to death. The genocide that's going on in our world, euthanasia, starvation, war, all these issues, very, very difficult issues. But we have to stand for life in each and every thread of that in our world. Standing for life. Another big issue is immigration. Now, the Catholic bishops, they teach that the national borders, they must be respected. But there's political and economic realities that drive people to come here. And we must treat people humanely and try to keep families together and to help nurture that. So that very, 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 not cut and dry issues. So we have a lot of praying to do, a lot of understanding of what the church teaches to do to make good choices in terms of giving to God what is God, and giving and living for God in this world that we live in, that we may do that. We do have a choice to make. We know we have a choice to make. That's why we're here tonight, seeking the truth and seeking to delve deeper in that. And we know that in that choice, fundamentally, that we've got to choose for life, and we've got to choose for God's life. Because the body that you have is not yours. The body I have is not mine. It belongs to God. And we're called to glorify God in our bodies, to give to God what is God. And that's the totality of who we are. And that's the call that to be faithful to that. Will it cause division? You bet it will. Jesus said there will be division, but we have to remain faithful to how he's calling us to live and to stand for life. Have you ever stood for life, and especially in a place where they might be taking it? You'll know that there's a decision. You'll know that there's good and evil if you've ever done that. And we're called to be challenged to stand up for that, especially those who can't stand for themselves. The innocent, the elderly, the starving, those who do not have the means to stand for themselves. May we give to God what is God's, everything that we've got. And in the Eucharist, that's what we say. Jesus says, I give you my body and blood. And we say, I give you my body and blood.